Okay, so we're out on our hour walk and we're out in an area called Flat Lode here in Cornwall. This was a really industrial area about 100 years ago. This would have all been mine waste and rubble. When it was left, nature moved back in. And one of the things that moved back in was this, gorse. Gorse is everywhere in Cornwall, all these beautiful yellow flowers. It flowers all year round as well. Obviously it tails off a little bit in the winter, but it's still full of yellow flowers all the year round. And one of my childhood memories is walking to my dad's field and hearing the popping of the gorse pods. And the pods are full of seeds, and this popping would throw the seeds about 2 meters away from the plant. So gorse was into social distancing before we were. These seeds are all coated in proteins and sugars which are of interest to ants. They take the seeds away and they put it in their nests. They eat the proteins and sugars from the edge without damaging the seed, chuck it out with their waste, and that germinates the seed elsewhere. So that's how gorse moves around. It's also very, very prickly, and this is great for nesting birds and things. And only about, I don't know, 1.5 miles down there, a couple of weeks ago, I saw a wren nest in here. So this is a great little thing to go. And I see lots of blue tits and things on here as well, which are picking up the bugs. Ulex europaeus, gorse. Walking away from the gorse, I took this with me, and of course it's a dead piece of gorse. Now this would have been used by gardeners in the past. What they would do, they plant their seeds, say bean seeds or something like that, and they put this on top, and that would stop the mice digging down and eating them. So it was a good handy thing for gardeners, and also a handy thing if you've got a campfire that you want to start as well, because gorse unfortunately is very flammable. So we have a lot of gorse fires down here, and so this is good for starting fires. I'll put that down there. Ouch. And then I'm under a tree now. This is a Rowan tree or mountain ash, and it's full of these beautiful white flowers, and you probably can't hear it, but I can hear buzzing all through this tree. Wonderful for pollinators. And the other thing is that it flowers now, so it's great for pollinators at this time of year, but then when the flowers are fertilized, they produce a lovely berry, and on this case this is Sorbus orchiparia. This is the wild one, and it will produce a red berry. Now that goes through, that keeps quite well on the plant and goes through the winter, helping our birds. So you'll get blackbirds, thrushes, redwings, and even waxwings have been seen in Truro on one of these sorbus. A tree you can put in your garden. You can get different varieties of this with different coloured berries, so it's quite an attractive plant. This has come from a bird's bum. That's how it's grown here, and that's how it spreads around. Sorbus orchiparia. Whoa, hello. There we go. Brilliant for pollinators, as we just said. Running around here with the kids. I've climbed down here into a load of brambles, which is fantastic. Doing a bit of a Bear Grylls bit here. This is ivy, Hedera helix if you want its botanical name. It's brilliant for pollinators because the flowers on this will be buzzing with everything. Everything will come here. It also gets black fly on here, which excrete a sugary substance called honeydew, which is also lapped up by butterflies because it's actually pure sugar from the plant. Now the thing is, if you want to have ivy in your garden, you'll probably think, oh, I'll have some of that variegated type and all that. Now that won't set seed or flower because it's propagated. If you want ivy to have flowers and everything for the wildlife, you've basically got to plant the seed and grow it from seed, else it won't produce any flowers. It'll be all right for spiders. It's not a bad thing to have in your garden, but if you want the real thing with flowers, grow it from seed. Hedera helix. Right, just before I leave this area, I've been joined by Jake here.
Hello.
And hello, thanks mate. And this is a Buddleia davidii, which is a
butterfly tree.
Butterfly bush. Nearly,
Bush.
near enough, okay. Butterfly bush, it has long cone-shaped flowers on the end, and it is great for butterflies. Unfortunately, it's not great for mine buildings because the roots actually grow into the wall and actually start to separate the bricks and everything and do some damage. If you want to grow a Buddleia in your garden, try one of the buzz types. They're a new one. They're meant to be smaller, and also they don't set so much seed, so they don't become so invasive out and about. But Buddleia davidii is not native. It can be a bit of a pest in places, but where it's left to grow, it will be full of butterflies. Really good last year with all the red admirals. Buddleia davidii. Okay, just quickly, this is stinging nettle. Now you don't want that in your garden really, I should imagine, but if you have a spot that you can leave where you can grow 2 meters square of this in full sun, you'll provide habitat for 40 different types of invertebrate, including habitat for caterpillars as well, for red admiral butterflies and for peacock butterflies. I mean, beautiful things like that. We're getting too good at killing this stuff off, us gardeners, and we just need to leave a little space where we can grow it around to just encourage this wildlife and keep things going, because they need a home. They need a home. So this is Urtica dioica, if you want its botanical name, stinging nettle. I don't have a favourite flower, but if I did, I think it might be this one. This is a bluebell, of course, the British bluebell, and we know it's British because it leans over like that. The one introduced by gardeners in our gardens, in some of our gardens anyway, that has a straight stem, and that's that's called Hyacinthoides hispanica. This is Hyacinthoides non-scripta, if I put my teeth in. And as I said, it's the British one, and Britain have 50% of the world's Hyacinthoides non-scripta. It is starting to cross with the other ones brought in by gardeners, but at the moment it's still here and we can enjoy it. And this is early May. It's a good time to be seeing them. Bluebell. Now here we have a foxglove. It's not flowering yet, but you can see it's getting ready to. Now this plant is responsible for saving my mum's life. This is called Digitalis, Digitalis purpurea. Digit means fingers, so the way it grows, and Purpurea, this has in the wild the purple flowers. And what you get from this is a heart drug called digoxin, and that controls your heartbeat level. And my mum has been on that for 20 years and it's kept her alive. So it's important also that we keep these plants to help us. Don't go eating it yourself thinking you'll cure your heart problems. It's very, very poisonous. It's processed properly. But it does produce a drug called digoxin, and it's Digitalis purpurea foxglove. Campion, looking beautiful, lovely pink flowers, in with the bluebells and the gorse, so you've got pink, blue and yellow. Might use that in a bedding display in Truro. Actually, already have used it in the designs, because the best thing to do with designing gardens is just to copy nature and use their colour scheme. It always gets it right, does nature. It was called campion. Campion comes from the word champion, and that's because when the Romans used to win things, they used to make a wreath and present people with a wreath, and they used to weave this flower into it for the champions. So that's why it's got its name. If you want its botanical name, it's Silene dioica. Here we go, something you don't want in your lawn, and that's a dandelion. Taraxacum officinale is its botanical name. Officinale means of use to man, and in the Middle Ages they'd preferred this growing in their gardens than the lawn. It was used to man. You can use the roots, you can use it to make a dye. It represents the three celestial bodies. You've got the sun, the moon and the stars, and those stars will fly about 5 miles, so some gardeners around here probably won't appreciate me doing that. But the other good thing about it is it's like the gorse, it flowers all year round, and this is a great place for the pollinators that wake up during the warmer winter days to come and get some nectar and some food, so a good food source for them. So it's important that we have this plant growing around as well. Dandelion, Taraxacum officinale. Okay, we're finishing the walk now, and I don't think I can talk about plants any longer. Poor old Sam, my youngest, he's fallen asleep behind mum there. I saw loads of things on the walk and I just talked about a fraction of it. But I'm going to finish off and I'm going to talk about grass. Now this is an area, and there's a meadow over there, and it's just been left go wild, and it's full of tussocks. Now this is good for the pollinators, but not because of a source of nectar, because grass is pollinated by the wind. So it doesn't have food for the pollinators, but it has little homes for the winter. These tussocks of grass are where the bees and things will go and hibernate. And also, if you leave it grow like this, you'll get rodents in here. You'll get mice, shrews and voles, and they're hunted by owls. I know there's owls that hunt here, and also kestrels as well. We quite often see kestrels over above here, and they're coming after the shrews and the voles. So you just need diversity in your garden to create a wildlife garden, and just copy this. It doesn't have to be as untidy as this. You can make it to whatever design you want, but just consider these things. Tall grass, great for shrews and voles. Things that flower all year round. Yes, you don't want to put gorse in your garden maybe, but you could put hellebores and mahonias that flower in the winter months, and then just the other months loads of things flower. So it's really easy to do, and it does not cost a lot. And if you're designing a wildlife garden, go for diversity.